Joe Biden himself has managed to keep 10 at least classified documents, and they discovered it on November 2nd. So I'm old enough to remember when I was told that based on Donald Trump having classified documents, that he should be in prison, that he could never run for president again. Somebody even tweeted that he should be charged with crimes and executed. And now Joe Biden has gone and done it himself. So this immediately brings to mind Barack Obama's quote, which I'm paraphrasing here: "Don't underestimate Joe's ability to f things up." So Joe Biden just, I believe, ended any possibility that Donald Trump is going to be charged with a crime for mishandling or obstruction or anything related to classified documents. I just think it's going to be virtually impossible to pull that off because of Joe Biden himself doing it, not to mention Hillary also doing it. But Mike, I have several questions associated with this. And foremost among them is, why did this story come out now? Why did the Biden administration and Merrick Garland, everybody in Department of Justice, know about this since November 2nd? Think that might have mattered a little bit in the midterm elections if the information on this had gotten out. Why did they know about this for multiple months, all of November basically, all of December, and it doesn't come out until January? I think the coincidence on the timing is because the House took control of the Republicans took control of the House, and they know that investigations are coming and they're trying to get ahead of it. So why did this take so long to come out? Also, why were there not raids of all of Joe Biden's residences? Joe Biden has a private home. He has a beach house. Why was the FBI not called in to conduct raids and potentially need to seize Joe Biden's passport? Why didn't they go through Jill Biden's underwear drawer? Why didn't they go through all of their clothes? Why was the FBI not called in to raid Joe Biden when we know that he had at least 10 documents that he had in his possession, that he had no right, that he was committing a crime? It's an interesting question. Also, bigger picture here. What about Joe Biden going on 60 Minutes and saying it was unbelievable that anybody could have classified documents while he himself had classified documents? I think a lot of you out there just throw up your hands and you say, this is what politics in America has become. Both parties accuse each other of things that they are likely to have done themselves. And in particular, this is a parlor game now in the Democrat Party, where they've convinced themselves that Donald Trump is Hitler. And so anything that Trump does is evidence of what Hitler would have done, even if Joe Biden himself was actually engaged in the same behavior. So I can't wait to see all of those left-wing talking heads get themselves into logic pretzels trying to explain this. Also, I would love to see Merrick Garland's reaction when he became aware that Joe Biden had totally screwed up his investigation on these documents. Now, this is yet another avenue where I don't believe Democrats are going to be able to charge Donald Trump with a crime. And so I think what's going to end up happening is Merrick Garland will eventually call a press conference, and he'll wag his finger about Donald Trump's behavior and Joe Biden's behavior and classified documents, and ultimately decide no one is going to get charged with a crime. But it does speak to Joe Biden's unique incompetence that he could have these documents, including and involving Ukraine, Iran, and the United Kingdom, according to CNN, were what those classified documents were connected to. And I just think the Ukraine documents in particular are awful for Joe Biden because it calls back into question the Hunter Biden relationship. And it also raises the larger issue of what exactly did Joe Biden know that was so valuable to Ukraine that they could justify giving millions of dollars to his crackhead son, Hunter Biden, despite the fact that Hunter had no tangible abilities and was entirely being paid based on his father's job. So I think that is a big story here. And I'm curious to see how exactly this is going to be covered, because now Merrick Garland's only real option to charge Donald Trump with any crimes is going to come down to January 6th. And my theory had been that they would use these classified documents as a opportunity to charge Trump with a crime. I think Joe Biden's own incompetence and own criminal behavior, to the extent on these classified documents it's criminal, was and is going to be an issue going forward. Also, remember, the vice president doesn't have the ability to declassify documents. So these were documents from when Joe Biden was vice president, so he didn't have the ability to declassify these documents. I'm curious if Barack Obama is going to try to wave a magic wand and declassify these documents himself. Remember, President Trump has partially defended himself by arguing that these documents were no longer declassified. So this story is going to be fascinating. And if you're interested in media bias, just compare the way that this is covered by MSNBC, by CNN, Washington Post, New York Times, ABC, CBS, NBC. They covered the Mar-a-Lago raid voluminously. They covered every detail associated with it with a fine-tooth comb. Will they do the same for Joe Biden? I think that Merrick Garland's going to have to appoint a special counsel. They should do further FBI raids on the president's home to see whether he has any other documents that are classified. I am going to do something that is almost unheard of. I'm going to be consistent here. I don't care that much about former presidents or vice presidents having classified documents in their possession. I don't think on the scale of issues that I am most concerned about, this does not rate that highly. I will point out, however, that Joe Biden had these classified documents in a location without Secret Service protection. Remember, if you've ever been to Mar-a-Lago, and I've been several times, President Trump has these documents under the watch and key of the Secret Service, meaning you can't get into Mar-a-Lago and walk around without going through Secret Service screening. These documents were just inside of office space that Biden had rented in the Washington, D.C. area, where any number of people could have theoretically had access to them. It's actually more dangerous, these documents are, to be reviewed by someone else than the documents involving Trump.